It's about time we figured out what would really happen if chess started like this. And luckily, today we have the trusty computers with the trusty, superhuman, extremely strong chess engines. And we can plot in any legal chess position and have it play against itself to figure out, what would the best move be and who would win. Who do you think would win? I'm pretty sure that white would have such a huge advantage when now the distance between the pieces are less, that I think that white will win, maybe even really, really quickly. And we are just in these experiments, we're just trying to learn something about the truth of chess, deep into chess. Just one small nugget of information that make us understand this royal, beautiful, magical game a little better. So I have had this position running in the computer for more than an hour because I wanted to make sure that it had really thought it through for the first move. Because if you get the first move wrong, it will have consequences all the way down the line. And the first move is knight takes c5 check. So this is c5 and this is the knight. So let's begin the experiment. Knight takes c5 check. It's an extremely forcing move, and Stockfish already thinks it has a winning advantage with white. But what can it come up with now that I input the move? What can it come up with? So it has to be either a queen sacrifice or a king move. And basically king to f7 is the move it wants to play. I'll leave it, a little bit so it has time to think, to explore the variations a little bit. That's the highest move on the list of possible moves. And king here, you would think, would be the second move, right? Because that's the only other legal move except for queen takes. But actually, king here loses, according to Stockfish, faster than just giving up the queen for the knight. Because of this knight check here. You can see that is going to be a huge problem. You're still winning the queen. And so in the only way to not lose the queen immediately to another knight here is to go to f7 here. Or you could capture but then there would just be no contest, you would be down a queen. So let's input king f7 and see what it thinks. I think it will be just basically a king hunt. And what's interesting here is we just come in with the knight. So we're already learning a little bit about chess in this crazy experiment here. Already learning a little bit about chess because the knights they can jump over pieces, and that is a huge advantage, particularly in closed positions. So many new players, they wonder, is the bishop best or is the knight best? Because all the chess teachers, they always say that they are both worth about 3 points. But in a closed position, particularly if the knights can get, first of all, what do I mean about a closed position? I mean no open files, for instance, for the rook to zoom around on, and no open diagonals for the bishops to zoom around on. That makes the knight relatively stronger. And also, they are short-range pieces. So the knights are way, way stronger in this position here because we are already close to the opponent, and we can jump over pieces in this closed position. So we're really seeing the potential awesome power of the knights here. So knight takes f5, and it what's interesting about this move is that it's not check. I guess there were no way to really give a check, and that means that now black can go ahead and give a check, and black can try to get some initiative going. So it's settling on queen f8, not even going for a check, and now it changes its mind again. E takes d4 check, which is like, that is so interesting that it for a brief moment there, now it changed its mind, but for a brief moment it just wanted to save the queen. Just say, let me get out of here. There's just this surprise army. Woke up one day and there's just a huge army at our doorstep. But luckily we were picnicking out in the field, so we had somewhere to retreat to. But oh my god, and the king and the queen are just running away. But no, now it's settling on, it really wants e takes d4 check. E takes d4 check. And this is also very interesting because immediately it says that it wants to play king f2, mirroring this king. Like, this is already so interesting. We have this mirror going on here. Also, we have the fact that it's not going to capture here. It could just capture here. It doesn't want to. You could maybe see bishop takes and then queen takes, and I would feel, we are looking at coming in with check here. It's going to be awesome. And by not capturing like king here, we are allowing just to sacrifice the bishop. So it is settling on king f2. That's what it wants to play. It's saying, I don't care about the pieces. I just want to have the initiative. I have a check here. I have a check here, picking up the queen. I just don't want you to move with force. I'll get my king away. No more checks for you. And also you can see, like, people sometimes ask why every chess opening for black is called a defense. And some people think it's pretty unfair that one side gets to start and that's somehow an advantage, and some people don't really believe in it, that it's an advantage. Well, you can see here, we just turned everything up to 11, and you can kind of see the principle of just how big of an advantage it potentially can be to move first. And then imagine if you roll back and you are like a super grandmaster, you are Garry Kasparov or you're Magnus Carlsen, and you know so much about chess, and you take the smaller advantage because now it's more subtle when there are more space between your army and their army, but you are still going first. It's still the same kind of advantage, but you need much more subtlety, you need much more sophistication, of course, but you can see the fact that white goes first is a huge advantage. Okay, let's see here. So after king f2, what does it want to play? It's still thinking a little bit, and it has a +6 for queen f8. Just trying to save the queen. That's +6. And everything else, it also has king f8. That's +8 because it's just sacrificing the queen. So we need to try to save the queen. The only place you can go is apparently here, because now we're also looking after this. We're protecting this rook, so knight can come in and take. I think that's what we will see. But queen f8, and then the queen can recapture potentially. Yes, and it wants, first it wanted knight takes, but then it changed its mind pretty significantly, and it actually really likes bishop to d2, just saving this bishop now. Just going back here. And I'm just letting it simmer for a little while. No, it really seems it just wants to play bishop here. Just save the bishop. Don't give Also the knight, do you really want to sacrifice the knight for this rook? Traditionally, rook worth 5 points, knight worth 3 points. But, I mean, in this position here, isn't the knight more like 6 points, 7 points? They're super powerful in this position. Yes, it is really settling on bishop d2. Okay, let's input that. D takes c4, b takes c4 are the biggest moves on the first search. So this is c4. No, excuse me, this is c4. So either this takes or this takes is what it's looking at. It likes b takes c4 a little bit more. I guess it's just the old idea of capturing towards the center. So it wants to do this. And maybe basically trying to build a little bit of a bunker here or something, or like a tank, something that's hard to get around. Attack the queen and say, okay, you can get through with the knights, but you are not getting the more clumsy pieces through. And these pieces, the queen, bishop, rooks, they're of course not clumsy in like normal chess, but in this kind of cheeky chess, I guess we could call it, we can see that they are way more clumsy than these like amazing knights. Okay, so queen b1 or knight takes h6 check are the two moves. But queen b1 wins out by a couple of percent. So queen b1, and black is getting the situation not under control because these two rooks are basically going to fall very probably. So it's not the black is not getting the situation under control per se, but at least kind of stopping the bleeding and trying to keep white back. Oh, now a new move came up. It wanted to play knight takes f4 for a long time. It wanted to play this move, be aggressive, threaten this. But now it found out that it actually likes h takes g4, threatening here. So it wants this. I wonder, it likes that a bit better. We will input it. It still feels, oh, excuse me. That's not, this is, I thought I was seeing it from the black side. This is a5. This is not, so it's takes here. And I guess that makes a bit more sense to me. We are moving with like some pretty significant force. We are attacking here, we are attacking here. I guess we can still capture here with a check. And that is what it wants to play actually. Knight takes check. So, and then of course just queen takes. Everything else is is plus 12. So queen takes. We'll input that. And this may be a bit of a mistake. So the values inside of the Stockfish chess program, every piece has a value, and then that value can be changed. So for instance, let's say the knight starts like 3 compared to the pawns, which would be 1. This is simplified, but let's say that. And then some part of the program notices that the position is closed, and then it will say now the knights, they are maybe worth 3.1 now or 3.2, and they're trying to dynamically change the evaluation of the strength of each piece, which is like a very powerful idea in general. But I don't think that, like, if this cheeky chess variant with the two armies just right opposed, like if we're trying to solve that, I don't think we would. I think the knight starts too low And I think actually it might be a mistake to capture here, just because the knight is so powerful in this situation. And yeah, chess is not solved, you know. So even though Stockfish, I can't beat it, nobody can prove it wrong. But it also doesn't mean that it's right. You actually need to get all the way down to only 7 pieces on the chessboard. And then we have it solved. Then we know the perfect move to either, you know, win or draw, or lose. Like if you are in a losing position, then there's not much you can do. But you need to get all the way down to 7 pieces before it's solved. So we don't know. We don't know the correct evaluation of chess. It might be that black wins by force with perfect play. It's not very likely, but it's possible. We see f takes g5. So counterattacking here, like so. And actually it's the only like really good move. It's +8, meaning clearly winning. Whereas the second move, bishop takes g4, which would be this move, is +4, which is like it's winning. And but I've seen super grandmasters have a +4 position and throw it away. So it's possible to throw away. And every move beneath that is not even good. Like you could also play e5 in the position before, and that's not even +1. So that's just a draw. So this is the only one that keeps like the huge advantage. So we input, and it pretty quickly it settles on queen h5 here. We'll give it a moment. So it's all the moves, all the top moves are queen moves. Queen h5, queen h8, or queen f8. So here, here, or here. And it does agree with itself still. Queen h5 is the move to play. Okay. And then something takes on g5. Now it wants to play bishop takes g5. Is that because bishop takes g5, queen takes bishop? It's a sacrifice of the bishop, but is it because we get in here with the rook and attacking this pinned bishop here? Or is it just because maybe it's just because if we move the rook it'll capture here anyway? So it's losing no matter what. Okay, we will input it here. Bishop takes. And yes, it does want to play queen takes. Everything else is plus 12. So queen takes. g4. And then, yeah, rook a g3. Rook here to here. And that's the only +8 move. You could also go with the other rook, but that's only +4. So that's way worse, apparently. It's interesting. Is it just because? Why is that? Is it just because you get out of potentially getting captured here? It is protected by this, and I don't see a way, because this is so protected. So I don't see how, for instance, capturing here would chase the rook away from protecting here. But it's like, according to Stockfish, it's a huge difference if you do this or if you do that. By the way, there's this, I think it's a Fischer quote, I just absolutely love. Always move the other rook. Oh, no, rook a g3. Now it wants rook a g3. It came up with a new idea. Or I misread it at first, maybe. It wants to play this, it wants to trap the queen. The queen can escape. Or it can escape here. Yes, it likes queen c8. Okay. No, now it changed its mind to queen h5. It's actually quite a lot better now. It's changed its mind again to queen c8. Let's see, 3, 2, 1, queen c8 is what we're going to play. Alright, and for a second it wanted to just play h5, just, you know, turn these rooks into, you know, supporters of these awesome pawns. And it's actually settling on h5 now. The other one is g takes f6, which I think is like very logical to just capture the bishop, but it actually likes h5 more. So we will play h5, and then bishop g7. It's fianchettoing the bishop. Or bishop e5, attacking the rook. Yeah, that's the second best move according to Stockfish. Now to the best move. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll play it, attacking the rook. Okay, what do you do? What do you do? E takes d5. Oh, that's sneaky. That's sneaky. E takes d5 here. Because now the queen from all the way down here is not so clumsy anymore. We can come in here with a check and it's going to be deadly. Not even taking here with check, which I guess would also be pretty good. So e takes d5. And what do you do? Do you play bishop takes d5? That's the initial idea at least. Bishop takes d5. And it's considering knight e7. Trying to protect here with this. But it wants to play bishop takes d5 pretty badly now, so we will allow it to do that. So that means that we are allowing this check. That's pretty crazy. Where this does not allow that check. But it says that it wants to do that. It wants to play bishop takes on d5. So we will input that. Okay, and here it wants h takes g6 check. It doesn't want to come in with the queen, which is interesting. It just wants to do this in order to open up for the rook, I guess. There can't be many moves here. Because we have to move the king. And king to g8, it strongly prefers this move. We will input it. And here it just wants to play g7. You know, not getting in with the queen, not putting the queen here in order to... It just wants to do this. And of course now this queen check is super deadly. So we input g7. It's plus 11 now. And it immediately says that bishop takes g3 check is the only try to not get checkmated immediately. Bishop takes check. And here is something interesting. King takes is the only move. If you play this which I think looks very like logical, then black is better. And if you play anything else, then king takes or rook takes, it's checkmate in 4 or less moves for white. White is getting checkmated. I actually want to explore that. Let's say just king here. It's going to be queen takes check. Here I can see how this is going to end pretty quickly. Queen here, check. That is actually checkmate. So very, very important here. Oh, it's actually down to that this is not even just better for black. Black is now -2, meaning that black has a significant advantage if you capture this. The only move, that's so crazy, is king takes. It's the only move. And now it likes queen c7 check. It's just the only one where it doesn't have a mate. Queen c7 check. Yeah, and it likes bishop f4. I also like that. It makes sense. It's plus 12. Let's do it. Bishop f4. And it says queen takes here. That's +11, so white is winning. But any move else is checkmate. Queen takes f4 check is the second best move. It's checkmate in 7 moves for white. So that doesn't work. And king takes here is the third best move. Surprisingly, just giving up the queen, that's checkmate in 6 moves. So queen takes g7 is the only one where it hasn't found a checkmate yet. But I guess it soon will. Now it's saying it just wants to capture the rook in the corner with the knight. It just wants to do this, but it's changing its mind. And it wants to play b takes a5. Really? We have time for that? It's not because it wants to play this, and it's just to unleash the queen. If the knight moves, we'll get in here with a check and it'll be checkmate really quickly. Right. And it is what it wants to play. Playing over the entire board. Just because it looks like all the action is over here, we can still have some action on the other side of the board. And some interesting options here, but knight c8 seems to be pretty heavily favored by Stockfish. Knight c8. I can see, we can come here, but now it's not check. It's changing its mind. It wants to play d3, which makes sense. It blocks out the queen here, but it is, of course, just allowing pawn takes. And now it's changing its mind again. It's saying knight c8. And it's staying on knight c8. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Knight c8. And knight takes a6. It's just simply as +16. Every other move is not even half as good. It's just capturing here. It's just being greedy and materialistic and just capturing the pieces after all the fancy stuff. And now we are in a position that kind of looks like a chess position, right? Knight e7 is pretty heavily favored here. Like so. Yeah, and let's just get this knight in. It wants knight c7. It wants it pretty badly, actually. So we'll do that. It makes sense. We have the material advantage. We are up a rook in the piece count. Bishop for bishop, knight for knight, queen for queen. And then we have this rook, which is not, and then we have 3 pawns versus 2 pawns, but these pawns are actually better than these pawns because they are protected and they are connected and they are passed, where these are doubled and stuff. So in actuality, the material difference is not that great. Stockfish has not thought that the way to win this game was just to take all the black's pieces and win like it. It thought, no, the quickest way is to just attack the king. Get the king in the corner. Seems to be a theme in these experiments. Get the king in the corner and checkmate. Put the king in prison. Now it actually sees checkmate in 17 with bishop c6. And the second best move is bishop e6. That's checkmate in 10. So the best try here is here. And then it says rook h6, which is just devastating. Just pushing back. It's been so interesting to see how the two armies were just right at each other's throats. The fact that white went first was an absolute killer, and just attacked the king. But there were all these sort of maneuvering things, and white was very, very hesitant or very vigilant in not allowing black to get any sort of initiative, let black get any sort of attack going. So white kept the foot on the gas pedal the entire time. And now we have broken through and we are pushing them back towards the back rank. And rook h6. There is a checkmate coming. It says bishop d7 is the best defense, and it's basically just saving the bishop from not being captured. Then it wants queen b8 check, or it wants rook f6. So queen b8 is this. That was the top move first, but now it wants rook f6, and now it's changed its mind. Now it wants knight e6, where you could trade off, and it changed its mind all its way back again, but it can't find the mate it found earlier. It only has a mate in 50 now. It can't find the quick mate for some reason, but queen b8 does lead to checkmate. Okay, let's see. Queen b8 check, and bishop c8 blocking the check, defended by the knight. That makes sense. Everything else is checkmate very quickly. Okay, now it finds the mate. Okay, it finds the mate now. Mate in 14 with knight here. So this is pinned. We can't come and capture. We are attacking the queen. Where does the queen go? The way to hold out for the longest, even though the mate is getting closer and closer, is here. Queen f7. And where is the coup de grace? Where is the coup de grace? Is it something like rook here? It actually likes that, but bishop e5 it likes better. That's the fastest checkmate. And that's because we go here, and now we just want to play checkmate. So that's a very, very tough threat to meet. There is this knight check that it wants to play. It's the way to stave off mate for the longest time. But the king just goes away as far away as it can. It goes to h2s. So if you contrast the kings, putting all the pieces, first they were all close to each other, and now the king is separating, the winning king is separating itself from the action to not have to run any risk. And knight takes h. Here looks like a good move, but queen takes c8 check is the killer, and that's actually the only move. Queen takes c8 is checkmate 9 move. Queen takes here. Every other move, like for instance takes, that is a draw, because you're allowing the queen in, and it will just check the king around. We can't have that, so we have to play check. We have to move with force, and king h7 is the only thing that's not made in 2. Checkmate in 2 moves, and knight f4. Yeah, so we play here to not allow the queen to get in. Not being greedy capturing here, allowing a perpetual check down here. Just close everything up. Now we're also threatening to check like this. Knight f4. And now the computer is, like, black is so desperate now that the best move is queen takes f4 check. Sacrificing the queen. Queen takes here check. It's the best move. Interestingly, this check is not good. It's worse. It's worse than just sacrificing the queen. Why? I'll just explore that. Oh, it's because the queen. Okay. It's just because the queen is actually just covering that. Okay, so queen takes check, and believe it or not, this position is so crazy that if you just move the king here, it's a draw. But of course, you capture the queen, and the knight goes to f7. Knight f7. And queen e6. I'm just playing out the checkmate sequence. Protect the knight. Queen f6 check. King g8. g6. Just getting in there. Knight here. It actually just wants to take the knight, or it wants to play bishop here, threatening checkmate there, or capture the. No, all the best moves now it says is a bishop move, but you could also, it actually wants this as the best move. Okay, we do that. c3. Yeah, it is either that move or that move. Like, those are the only legal moves. Queen check here and mate, right? Here and no, it didn't want that. It didn't want that. It wanted this, which is also checkmate. So I don't know how it rates, like if it has 3 moves and they are all checkmate in one, so they are all theoretically even. So I don't know how it orders which one it recommends as the top move in that situation. But I agree that this move here is more beautiful than the sort of prosaic queen check here. We've seen that so many times. This is a little bit more elegant. We are using more of the pieces we have left. And I hope you like the video. If you want more, if you want me to up the production quality, if you want to support my dream of becoming a professional YouTuber, you can support the channel on Patreon. Thanks for watching. I hope I will see you in the next video.